everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first actual video that I'm going to post. I've got a few more in the works that I've already started shooting, but this is really one I wanted to get out there because this boat, the native Watercraft Titan, there's not a lot of information on. You're starting to see a few videos pop up here and there, but it's almost a ghost. You hear about them, but you don't see a lot of them yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I've got this boat rigged out. I've done a lot to it, and hopefully if you're getting a native Titan or thinking of getting a native Titan, I will show you what's good, what's bad about how to rig this boat out. Let's get started. All right, everybody, what you're going to notice about the native Titan is it is a huge boat. It is 41 inches wide and 13.5 feet long. My old boat, the Hobie Pro Angler 14, sorry it looks so bad, but right now it's catching all the stuff from my installs of this boat. The Pro Angler 14 is a huge boat also, and it's right, it's a very heavy boat. They're 150 pounds a piece, and they're a little different from each other. The native Titan is loaded with gear tracks. As you can see here, the gear tracks is there. It's down all the way down the side of the boat. It's got gear tracks in the front of the boat, the very tip of the boat, on both sides. For the pedal drive, it's all over. So it gives you a lot of options whenever you're trying to put accessories on the boat. It makes them very easy. Only time will tell whether these accessories are going to hold up to the rigors of a really heavy boat and the way I've got it rigged out. So let me tell you what I've installed in this boat, and we'll talk about each one of them a little more in depth. First things first is I added my fish finder, Lowrance Elite 5 HDI. What you'll notice it is mounted on gear tracks, so it makes it really easy to mount here and actually give us a little bit of play in how far we want it on the boat, far closer to us or a little bit farther away for a little more room in the cockpit area. I did bring up the power cable and the transducer cable through the hull, and what Native did was they actually ran the transducer in the bottom of the boat. So the actual transducer is through here and underneath the boat, and I'll show this in a cutaway.
As you can see here, Native gave us a mounting plate on the inside of this indention to mount our transducer. Simple, 2 screws mounted in right there, nice and flush, and it's really nice. Now this does hang down slightly more than this here, but the whole thing is inside an indention in the kayak. As you can see right there, this goes up, and so this will be protected by the lower point, which is going to be in the front of the kayak. So although this does hang down slightly more than this right here, it's not in fear of hitting stumps.
And then I brought it back into the hull here, so it's up and above the water line, so I don't have to worry about water getting in when I bring in my power cord. And then I brought it through the inside of the kayak and back up through this kayak here, put in a Hobie through hole plug, and bring the cables back up here. So it's a little cleaner install. You don't have a lot of cables coming up other than right here, which I don't know if I'm in love with yet, but for now that's the way it's going to be. I may put a couple clips on here to make it a little more flush. Another very important add-on that I have on this kayak is the landing gear. This right here makes getting to the water 10 times easier. It's a kayak, so you should be a little bit more mobile than having to back your trailer down to the water every time to put your boat in. A lot of places that you want to fish in a kayak, you can't really fish out of a 150 pound boat with another 50 to 60 pounds of gear in it. So the Boondocks landing gear is absolutely essential in a boat like this, and super easy to install. As you can see down here, the gear tracks here it's made perfect for it. You put a nice strong nut and bolt in here, and it mounts directly in. In 2 minutes, you can have these installed. One thing that wasn't ready when I did this was the bar itself. From Boondocks and from Native, you can't get the bar. It's the right size. The Pro Angler 14 bar is 24 inches, but this one needs a 27-inch bar because of the width of the kayak. It's super wide. So I just went to Home Depot, picked up some tubing, and it'll work right now. And if it rusts, who cares? I'll throw it away. And eventually, Boondocks will get a bar out that's wide enough that's powder coated and made for here. For now, this is strong enough. Next thing I did was I installed the micro anchor system. I installed 2 of these, which I know may sound like overkill to some people, but when you just install one, you're kind of at the mercy of the wind. If the wind is blowing a different direction, it will spin you in a circle to whichever direction the wind is blowing. 2 of them let you not spin, so it's really it is really awesome whenever you get into a cove and you just want to, you push the button, both spikes come down, it drives them into the ground, and then you are parked. The wind won't blow you. It's like fishing from a boat dock. So it was really cool. But the install of this was a little tricky. There was no hull access. There was no way to put a nut and bolt through these mounting plates to the underside unless you have a 7-foot arm and you wanted to go all the way to the shoulder, run all the way to the back here and come up here. It wasn't going to happen. So unless you're a freak of nature, it's not going to, it wouldn't work. So what I did was I actually mounted this hatch. It's a 5 or 6 inch hatch. I can't remember exactly. I think it's a 6. And this let me get into the hole to actually put the nut on the back side of these. So these mounting plates that Native put in here, these really nice mounting plates, I can actually mount them through the plate, through the hull of the kayak, and it's a super solid mount. So it doesn't move at all. You don't have to worry about anything ever stripping out. That's the only way to do it. So word to Native, put in a hatch. It's a super easy thing to do. I don't know why they wouldn't have done that. We have a super nice transom here. I've got batteries that I have in there. Give me a way to get to them. I mean, your hatch that you have there in the back, like I say, unless you've got super long arms, it's worthless. It doesn't do anything for the hull of this kayak. So I also added my power for my 360 light back here, but again, I could not have put that in here if I did not have a hatch. So word to Native, hatch, it's a must. Version 2. Sorry, so I showed you the micro power poles up front, and I'm going to show you what I did with the actual controls inside the kayak. As I mounted them here on this front little panel, I've got power switches that can be turned on and off. The power to the power poles, power to my Lowrance fish finder, power to my 360 light, and power to fourth item, which I'm not sure. I think it's probably going to be interior lights. But I mounted the actual up and down for the power poles right here on this very front. I've actually gotten to where I just turn them on and off with my toe, and so I actually don't have to lean forward and push those buttons. It also comes with another one that you hang around your neck if you want, but it's hard to keep track of those things, and I'm sure I'm going to lose those soon enough. But these other ones that you mount in the hull or on the actual kayak, they've done a great job. So no complaints. I like that a lot. Another really cool thing that Native did to this kayak is they put in a cup holder, but not just a cup holder. It's a cup holder / rod holder. And so what they did is they dropped a small rod holder in the bottom of the cup. When you're fishing, you set your rod down. Instead of setting it down on here or using the storage, horizontal rod storage in the front of the kayak here, you just set your rod down. It's quick and easy. And I found when I use this on the water and I want to set my rod down, I put it here every time. It's fast. You don't have to worry about it falling out of the kayak. Good design. Another really cool thing that I do like about the pedal system here is on the top of the pedal drive itself, they gave us a 1/4 20 mounting hole here, and I got a 1-inch ram ball, put it on top, and so I have mounted an X-Grip phone holder or whatever holder that you want to use. This lets me put my phone directly in my face. I can use a nav system, or I can play music, anything else that I want right here off of the top of the pedal drive, which I thought was a really great accessory to throw on top there. I've talked about the width of this kayak being 41 inches. It's a absolutely super wide kayak. It's fantastic as far as stability on the water goes. And what that means is, as a big guy like me, I'm 6 foot tall and 3 bills, I can stand up easily. The seat is actually pretty high, so I can go from a seated position to a standing position with no effort at all. It's absolutely, hands down, the best kayak on the market for stability. I can stand to one side, it will lean, but I don't ever feel like it's going to go over. Now, I probably should test it and see how far I can push it without falling over, but for now, I'm not going to the water. So one thing that's really cool about this kayak is the turning system on it. It is by far the best turning kayak I have ever been in my entire life. And I don't know how they did it. It's voodoo. I don't know the engineering, but the way this kayak turns is As soon as you start pedaling forward and you've got any kind of angle on your rudder, this boat starts turning within 3 or 4 strokes on the pedal, and it turns quick. So it will literally turn in its own circle, which for a kayak is unheard of. I can't imagine a boat that's this big and is this wide that is this nimble. Now, I did upgrade one thing, which I don't even know that I needed to upgrade it, other than the rudder on this kayak was plastic. I'll show you what I've got on here now. I've got this Boondocks rudder, which is an all metal rudder, and this is a good 12 to 16 inches long. It is a super long rudder, which is good and bad. So if you lift the front of this kayak up and try to roll it with the Boondocks landing gear, this actually will catch the ground and you will drag metal. It's really not that big of a deal, other than it puts a lot of stress on the rudder system, and I don't like that. Now, being fair, I never really tried the rudder that came on this naturally. I bought this rudder as soon as I bought the kayak, and I put it on as soon as I got the kayak. I just didn't think that plastic rudder sticking out of the back there was long enough, and it's plastic. And I never wanted to be on the water and had to worry about hitting something and having my rudder break. So I upgraded as soon as I got the kayak. And I don't know that it's an upgrade. Don't know that it makes it any more nimble. I don't know how it couldn't. But like I say, I'm not an engineer. But like I said, there's probably drawbacks to both. I still wanted the metal rudder. So now I'm going to talk about a couple things that I really dislike about this kayak. And no kayak is going to be perfect. Mind you, this is as close as it's come. But there are some negatives that are pretty serious negatives. So I'm going to talk about the pedal drive. I really, really like the pedal drive. It takes very little effort, and the boat goes from sitting in one position to moving very quickly. Problem is if you actually try to go fast and push fast, it cavitates, which that means it sucks water down through the drive system and you lose propulsion, and it makes a lot of noise. So you actually have to ease into your pedaling to get going, and especially if you're trying to fish quiet, it doesn't work, because this drive system is too short. Native, this drive system is too short for the Titan. This drive needs to be probably 4 inches deeper into the water. That being said, it would be tough to get into shallower water, but for a kayak this size and for this design of the hull, where it's kind of concave in the middle, it needs to be deeper in the water. I don't know if there's a fix for it. I don't think that whatever they do is going to be an easy fix. To me, they're going to have to come up with a completely separate propel drive system for this that's long enough, that's made for the Titan. Right now, it's not. So you have to kind of deal with it. And I've dealt with it, and it's still a fantastic drive system. It's just not quiet, and you have to really kind of learn how to pedal this kayak. Ease into it nice and slow, and then when you're going, it's usually not too bad of a problem, unless there's wind and waves. So when you get waves and the front comes up out of the water, you're going to cavitate. I don't care if you're going full speed, you're going to suck water through that drive system, and you're going to lose propulsion while it's sucking that water through, and you're going to make a lot of noise. Not a big deal whenever you're moving across the water, but it's a flawed design. They need to put some more effort into building a drive for the Titan, which is supposed to be like their premier kayak that is made for the Titan. This is not made for the Titan. So the really nice thing about this Native is the seat. The seat is actually very comfortable, and they've done something with the Titan that I really, really like. Is they put this plastic bucket system underneath, and so you can take all of your bait boxes and put them under the seat, and so you don't actually have to carry a bunch of bait bags or anything like that take up a lot of space. You store them under the seat, and it leaves you a lot more room inside the cockpit, especially if you're fishing tournaments. The seat is very comfortable. I've actually fished for about 8 hours straight in this thing and haven't really had any problems with cramping or the blood flow in my leg getting cut off like some are. But there is a negative to this seat, and that is the noise. And the noise in this particular seat comes from the way that the material is on the actual seat backing here. So as you can see right here, the material makes contact with the metal frame of the seat, and if you sit back, that sucks. That's terrible, and I cannot believe that that's a product that Native would have let fly out the door. As you're fishing You know, you're trying to tournament fish. This is a fishing boat, so you have to be quiet so you don't freak the fish out. And that is something that you let go out. That's a design flaw. They should put something on here, some kind of a rubber or a different design, because right now that is absolutely awful. Because you sit back all the time on every cast and everything you do. That's terrible. So, Native, come on, make it quiet, quieter. Other than that, the seat gets an A for comfort. It gets an F for noise. All right, everybody, this wraps up my first episode of Wade's World. Hopefully I showed you some things on the Native Titan that you didn't know before, and if I didn't, leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll get to whatever questions that you may have. As a fishing boat, I give this a B. It's a fantastically maneuverable boat. It's stable. It's wonderful. But this cavitation problem with the drive system, you can't overlook it. It's a serious issue that Native should have addressed before this boat was released. I like it. The planes that are overhead right now like it. So I'm going to continue to fish out of this boat. It's wonderful. I really enjoy it. And airplanes.